Tony Stark is back in Iron Man 3 and has been having some severe anxiety attacks since the near domination of the Earth in the Avengers. To cope with his anxiety and inability to sleep, Tony has been doing the only thing he knows how: building new toys in his basement. Iron Man 3 is directed by Shane Black, who has some experience in action comedy films, but not superhero films. While the film could have been a little better, Black did a good job at using Tony Stark's already developed wit and sarcasm, but may have gone overboard a bit. If you're a die-hard Iron Man fan, you may find his subtle humor a little unevenly paced. But if you understand what he's going for, you probably won't have an issue with the directing. As a new terrorist threat known as the Mandarin appears and begins using explosives that leave no traces of what bombs were used, the US is put on high alert. Although Tony hasn't been doing much in the superhero arena lately, he's abruptly pulled back into the game when one of his friends is hurt in an explosion. Tony is reunited with Colonel Rhodes, who informs him that there have been several similar attacks that the public doesn't know about, and none of the explosions leave any trace of the bomb that was used. The 21st century Sherlock Holmes quickly goes to work and discovers a unique heat signature left by each explosion and immediately begins following his only lead. There's a short flashback right in the beginning of the film that introduces one of Tony's ex-girlfriends and a crazy scientist who's pretty much the exact same character as Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler from Batman Forever. If it isn't obvious already, I'll just say that these two characters come back later on in the film. This movie focuses a lot more on character development than the last Iron Man film, but still integrates a satisfying amount of action. If you've seen the trailer, then you know that Tony's mansion is destroyed by the Mandarin, and Tony must develop as a person to defeat his enemy without the help of his Iron Man suit. That's not to say he doesn't get some much needed help by the end, but it serves as a way for Tony to overcome his anxiety and proves that Tony Stark is the Iron Man and not just some guy who's made awesome only because of his armor. This film features some decent action sequences, a lot of deception, Tony Stark's unparalleled sarcasm, and some unique futuristic technology that demands you suspend your disbelief just a little bit. But it's nothing that hasn't been done before and fits well into the plot, since the enemy needs a way to pose a challenge to Iron Man. While the villain is not very memorable, you don't watch superhero movies to learn about the villains. You watch superhero movies to watch the protagonists discover who they are and then kick the bad guys' asses. If you like the first Iron Man, the Avengers, or any of the other recent Marvel films, then you will not be disappointed with this one. I highly recommend Iron Man 3 and give it a B+.